Greetings out there, it's Eric Bakker, naturopath from New Zealand. I'm author of a book called Candida and I'm also the formulator of a range of products called CanXida. Thanks for checking out this video. I've got a question here from a guy on YouTube called Pro Chess Player. I think his name is Josh. And Josh is asking me, I think Josh is in Idaho from memory. Josh is asking me, Eric, can you please do a video on foods to avoid for leaky gut syndrome? Well, Josh, one thing you and I got in common, I think I've checked out your site. You love playing chess, so do I, but I keep getting beaten by my teenage son, which is really annoying for me. So one thing I don't get beaten by often is questions for Candida, so we're going to address that right now. What are some foods to avoid with leaky gut? Well, I've just spent a little bit of time on the internet looking at a lot of sites on leaky gut syndrome to get a feeling what the general consensus is out there. And here's quite a well-known website from a very well-known doctor in America who will remain nameless. And this doctor is saying foods that cause leaky gut: gluten, cow's products, sugar, unsprouted grains, and GMO. Very true, doctor, but there are a lot of things that you're missing out on. I'm going to go into some detail with this video. So grains, I've found another site. In fact, I just went to Google and typed in foods to avoid with leaky gut, and the paleodiet.com came up. Grains, legumes, dairy, sugars, unhealthy oils, alcohol, caffeine, excessive carbohydrate consumption. This is a bit closer to the mark. But when you've got leaky gut, basically a good advice for you, the foods to avoid in general are processed foods. So processed foods in general. So when you go shopping, I've said this before in videos, if you do shop at a supermarket, buy your foods only from the perimeter, the outside perimeter, meats, vegetables, perishable products, because these are less likely to cause problems with leaky gut. So it is true that alcohol and caffeine do cause leaky gut. Alcohol to me is the top of the no tree when it comes to leaky gut. So if you were to say to me, what food is most associated with leaky gut, I would say alcohol. What out of everything I know is associated with leaky gut is antibiotics. That's really the top or the biggest tree is antibiotics, or all kinds of pharmaceutical medications, anti-inflammatories, steroids, antidepressants, sleeping pills, any kind of a drug, for stomach blocking, stomach acid, or reducing pain. All of these drugs are involved in leaky gut, including Tylenol, paracetamol, any of these kind of drugs. Birth control pill, all involved with leaky gut. All right, but antibiotics are the top of the tree. But when we look at foods and beverages, alcohol's right up the top. So don't even think about drinking alcohol if you're worried about leaky gut. And even if your gut is healthy like mine, drinking alcohol occasionally will predispose you to leaky gut. You will make your gut increasingly leaky by drinking. Every drink you take increases your likelihood of making the gut leakier and leakier, okay? And then on top of that, if you put antibiotics on top of that and high stress, you're a sitting duck for a serious leaky gut problem. So grains, yes and no. I believe that most people can tolerate small amounts of gluten in their diet when they're healthy like me. I don't eat bread or flour products. I much prefer to have brown rice in my diet and grains like quinoa or millet. But I do have a piece of bread every now and then, and I really enjoy a nice piece of toast with some tahini or an organic peanut butter on there. And I really enjoy the taste, the texture, the smell, and I'm sure most people do. But, I would not eat a piece of bread every single day with peanut butter on. I wouldn't do that. It's just every now and then these things are fine, all right? So grains in general, you need to be careful of refined flours, white flour, donuts, cookies, these sorts of foods. Every time I go to the airport and fly out, I see the donut stand, and you see all the large people sitting there buying donuts with all these sugar toppings. So that's crap. That's the sort of stuff you want to avoid. Ice cream, refined carbohydrates, these sorts of foods. That's the sugars. So chocolate bars full of sugar, candy, confectionery, lollies, licorice, all these sorts of things. These really help to breed lots of bacteria and lower immunity, and really help to increase the leakiness of the gut there as well. So coming back to grains, so everything's paleo today. So I don't really believe in the paleo diet myself as such. any more than I subscribe to any one particular religion. Because to me, diets today are like religious beliefs. You know, we've got the Muslims, and we've got the Catholics, and we've got the Protestants, and we've got the Baha'i, and we've got the Mormons, and so we've got the paleo people, and we've got the vegan people, and we've got the similar kind of thing. They're all belief systems. So it's up to you to believe what you want to believe. But to me, a healthy diet is a balanced diet that includes a lot of these different belief systems. And you need to work out what the right belief system is for you in terms of your gut, and perhaps spiritually as well. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that healthy people can tolerate small amounts of wheat and gluten quite okay. But if you're very sick and you've got serious gut problem, you probably need to avoid most grains until you improve your gut flora to a degree where you can tolerate small amounts. I think psychologically it's good to have small amounts of different kinds of grains in your diet. Legumes in many cases are fine with leaky gut, providing again you don't go overboard with legumes. All right? And there are many different kinds of legumes and beans that you can eat. Sprouted legumes are probably the best ones to have in your diet. I like sprouts and make sprouts up all the time. So dairy products are definitely a problem. Cow dairy with people in terms of, you know, if they've got leaky gut to make it worse, but also stimulating the production of leaky gut when consumed in conjunction with alcohol and antibiotics and things like that. So the better dairy products to have would be mozzarella cheese. Goat's cheese is usually okay. Mozzarella, I think, is one of the better cheeses to have, but drinking lots of cow's milk is not a good idea because it leaves you wide open to stimulating the gut to become leaky. So even healthy people, I believe, should avoid cow's milk, even if it's like organic or certified organic or non-pasteurized, non-homogenized, or milk with modified beta-casein in it. So I'm not a big fan of these kind of foods. Sugars are certainly something you need to avoid. If you want to avoid the risk of leaky gut, you need to avoid sugars, most kinds of sugars. I don't put honey in that realm. Honey does contain sugar, but honey has a different effect on the gut than refined sugars do, a completely different effect. But again, they're best avoided for people with leaky gut until they recover their gut function. But I'm also talking about artificial sugars, which I think belong really into the toxic realm. So unhealthy oils, I'm definitely for this. Avoiding corn, vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil. So these are really crappy oils. And hydrogenated fats, fats that become hard at room temperature to allow increase the shelf life of different processed foods. So the better oils really would be organic sunflower oil, macadamia oil, nut oil is a beautiful oil, walnut oil, high quality extra virgin olive oil, very good. There are many different kinds of very healthy oils you can have, but they should be kept really cool or refrigerated in sealed dark bottles away from light to stop oxidation. And coconut oil, of course, if it's a good fermented coconut oil, a good quality one, is not going to create leaky gut problem. I've already spoken about alcohol. Biggest contributor, I think, of all is regular alcohol consumption. Caffeine, I don't think caffeine's a no-no. I think 1 cup of coffee a day for most people is perfectly acceptable if they can tolerate caffeine. So 1 cup in the morning is usually fine, and it makes you feel good. A lot of people like the aroma and taste of coffee, so avoiding all these things entirely from your diet because some paleo person says so, I think can be quite difficult for a lot of people to swallow. Excessive carb consumption, well, it goes without saying. But remember, there's carbs in a lot of foods. You don't avoid all carbs, you just avoid the refined carbs. So I hope that gives you some information, Josh, about foods to avoid if you've got leaky gut, or to stop the development of leaky gut. Okay? Processed foods. Don't forget to check out yeastinfection.org and do my quiz, because the quiz is good for Candida, but will also show you what your likelihood of a lot of gut dysfunctions are like. It's the best quiz online for Candida determination. Please subscribe to my channel. I intend to really build this Candida Crusher channel out to be very significant. Check out my products at CanXida.com. I believe I make some of the best gut products currently available online. Thanks for tuning in.